Ian wants to be he wants to do this for a living, so this is good.
Well, not this, but it's a good start.
Small steps. Okay.
He wants to be mayor, honey.
Millennium, the golf people, I have requested they don't come back until they have control of the property. Once they have control of the property, we'll have them come back and talk to us. After that, it doesn't really make any sense to waste everybody's time.
Potential user for the 37 acres.
Okay. Gypsy Moth we've already talked about. Feedback and discussion of financial transparency.
Okay. We've got, I sent out to everyone, I believe it was either Sunday or Monday, I forget, let's check the days. The most recent set of revisions. The text is pretty well baked at this point. I've taken like most of your comments we could into consideration. I've pointed out a couple changes in this last round, including putting the mayor's stipend and village clerk stipend. And as Sherry pointed out, I had an error in I wasn't tracking the ordinance correctly. That there was hopefully you're getting the money. There's a 4% increase built in every year. I did the calculation on that and put that number into the document.
Okay. There's a couple of items there.
And the things I want to focus on, if you could, I've actually made copies for you just so it's easy to look at. These are the schedules that are going to be changed every month. Most of the report will be static for the year, and these schedules will actually change on a month-to-month basis that Susan will prepare and publish to the website. These are the ones that I want you to take a look at, make sure that we're comfortable with, that we're going to do this for another month or so, make sure that we like what we're seeing, we understand what we're seeing, and it is explainable to people that they just look at it in the village.
Bruce, do you think once a month is overkill?
No.
I realize it's there and it's informational, but it is a lot of work. It's good work, but do you think people will read it monthly?
People who want to read it will read it.
Understood.
Actually,
as long as you're willing to do it, as long as he's willing to do it.
Well, these reports.
He's not the only one that does it.
No, well, Susie does these two reports. And basically just running it out of the general ledger. I don't think it takes her a lot of time. I know it on Friday. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem like it was taking her an awful lot of time to produce these.
Well, if she does it quarterly, she still has to do it once a month. So there's no savings there. In order to catch up to the quarter, she has to do it every month.
Right, you got to do it every month anyway, so you're really not saving much.
I was wondering if monthly is not always good. And if the feeling is...
And we can do, I have no issue with doing monthly or quarterly, I don't really care which.
I was under the impression that this was initiated to give people a given comfort level
Right.
as to where the money's coming from.
Where we're
it's
spending.
going.
Exactly.
Monthly seems like an overkill.
Well, that way, Mike can come in and yell at us about what we spent last month. So.
I don't yell at anybody. Don't yell at me.
Well, if you think they're...
I don't know how often people are going to use it.
You may be, and I may be.
You and I will look at it.
And you and I are the beans.
Sure.
And
Well, I think the people who are interested probably would be interested every month. They're probably either are interested or not interested, and the ones who are interested will check frequently, is my guess.
well, it takes up space, and we'll ask questions to determine.
We can quiz people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, no, what's going to happen is they're going to start quizzing us, but that's okay.
Okay.
And the one piece that we haven't really touched on yet, and Pat, this was really bears to the study that you did on the infrastructure. And that has not been passed out to the entire board yet, is that correct?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The targets?
No, well, this was, Pat put together a really instructive analysis of the infrastructure in the village, looking at the water system and the sewage system by component. So looking at when a piece of pipe was put in the ground, what year it was put in the ground, what type of pipe it was, what the replacement cost is. So you can really look at it and break it apart. We have a pipe that was put in the ground in 1961, was the earliest pipe. It has a 50-year life, it's 48 years old now. So as a policy question, that's what we're trying to get to on this. The policy question is, once a piece of infrastructure has reached its useful life, do we look at it and say, let's just wait till it breaks, and we'll be like, you know, parts of New York City where they still have wooden water mains in some streets that burst, and then it's really expensive to fix it, or do we just say, you know what, we've got this section of pipe that is now 50 years old, it's reached the end of its useful life, we've been accruing funds to replace it, let's just spend the money and put new pipe in the ground in that sector. And when you look at the breakdowns, this is something I think we need to do on this, is break it down kind of by tranche. Because there's pipe that's put in 61, and there's like 70,
Yeah, there's kind
70
of,
71, 74 era.
there's kind of three eras
Yeah.
of infrastructure that we have, both sewer and water. The bulk of the system, you know, it fits kind of nicely into these three eras. Why don't I take that memorandum that I put together, I want to condense it a little bit. I think it's overly detailed as far as every single piece of pipe we have, and I'll condense it.
I love it.
Well, that's fine, it's more pages, but I'm happy to, also, I'll distribute that out to the board, as well as, I have been looking around at what some other communities in the region do, and I can tell you that it varies widely. On one end of the spectrum, across the Tollway Bannockburn, they put a 40-year lifespan on their water mains, and they actually intend to have money in the bank to replace each one of the ones that's 40 years old. At the other end of it, you've got Evanston, who 80% of their system is already 100 years old, and they've simply determined we can afford to replace 1% of the year, and that's how they budgeted.
They got super infrastructure.
Absolutely. Why it's lasted as long as it has.
Those wooden water pipes are marvelous. And the question we need to look at as a board is, you know, procedurally, do we want to put the money in the bank so that, like this 1961 pipe that's out there right now, in a couple of years we want to replace it, and the replacement cost is going to be what, $2 or $3 million to replace that. Do we want to use funds in reserve? Do we want to raise a bond issue? How do we want to go about it? Because there is, you know, as we pointed out in the past and through the campaigns, we have a good balance in the bank right now. And part of that balance has been built up as a reserve with the thought that we were building reserve to replace pipe and other infrastructure that wore out. Is that the policy we want to have? And how much should we have in the bank, you know, on an annual basis? What should our target be? Because that's going to change every year as the replacement costs go up, as we put more pipe in the ground. But we should have a set target, so we don't look at that pot of money and say, well, we're a rich village, we've got plenty of money. Gosh, why don't we just take, you know, $2 million of that money and we'll put it into something else that we weren't intending to spend it on before, and add more infrastructure, reduce taxes, whatever. But we need to have a real policy on what we're doing and why we're doing it. So not only do we understand it, but residents in the village understand why we're putting that money to the side. So perhaps for the next meeting, we can have that.
I'll go ahead and distribute what I had there. I think, Chief Ugasty,
I think someone over here had a comment.
oh, I was guessing, but I did want to point out for the board that the fire district, most all of the truly ancient water mains that we have are in the Country Club Estates area, the golf course areas here. Of course, that's where our fire station is at. We of late had a few main breaks, and we certainly can't put the finger on, you know, was it fire activities going on there or training or anything, but where we're at right now is the district, the fire district of their own accord has volunteered to halt their engineer training over there because we think our water mains are a little too tender for the hydrants to be worked over there. And that's kind of not a position that I think we want to be in. So these are the things that we'll start thinking about in terms of going forward and putting together our replacement project.
Let me just, I may add one little thing about what I think the board can do here, why we haven't formally reserved monies. For one thing, we've never issued bonds for anything. And a requirement often when we issue bonds is that the user fees or some portion of it be formally reserved or set aside. We've never had that situation. Therefore, as we've built up money, it's not, from an accounting standpoint or a legal standpoint, considered legally reserved. The accounting, you know, Miller Cooper has always said to us that this gives us the flexibility